Every year, thousands of business owners pay an excessive amount in tax liabilities over to HMRC. And one of the most common reasons for this is simply because they are failing to claim all their eligible tax deductions as they should be doing. Now, one of the clients we recently worked with came with his tax returns and estimated tax bill of approximately £56,000. Now, upon reworking his tax returns, we were able to reduce this by £30,000. Okay, so this is just one out of many examples that I see consistently of business owners failing to actually claim eligible tax deductions to help them save money in taxes. Now, if you're one of many business owners out there who simply doesn't understand what a tax deduction is, how do tax deductions work, and more importantly, how you should actually go about claiming these tax deductions, I'm going to be walking you through those steps in today's video. Before I do that, I do want to quickly say that we do have a free checklist download of over 100 tax allowable expenses that you can download to help you get you started on the right path. Now let's start with an overview of how exactly the tax system works in the UK. There are different income tax rate bands, so depending on what your level of income is as a self-employed person or someone who's in full-time employment will determine what rate of tax you will pay for your income earned. Now, if you have a limited company, there are also different percentage thresholds for limited company that will determine what your tax rate is as a limited company. So for instance, if you are a limited company who is able to generate a profit figure of approximately £50,000 in the year, then you are looking at paying corporation tax at approximately 19% for your limited company. Now, how do tax deductions work? Tax deductions are basically eligible business expenses that you are able to offset against your gross income that you have generated within your business. Now, does that mean every business expense is generally tax deductible? No, it doesn't. However, it does mean that if you are going to actually claim a business expense as a tax deductible expense, then you do want to make sure that that business expense is wholly applicable to running your business. Okay, so it is specifically for the purpose of generating income within your business. As a rough example, if you're running an accounting firm and you are suddenly buying car parts or car machinery and trying to claim that as business expenses within your business, then that simply wouldn't work, because generally as an accounting firm, you would not be expected to have car parts as part of your business expenses to make income within that particular business. Rough guideline here is, if you are running a business as part of your trade, the expenses that you're using to generate that income within your business are generally the type of expenses that would be tax deductible and also would be eligible business expenses for that purpose. It is important though that where you're not sure that a particular business expense might be tax deductible, you do want to make sure that you are liaising with your accountant on this to verify. It's also important for you to be aware that not every business expense is going to be fully tax deductible. There are instances where business expenses can only be partly tax deductible. Okay, so particularly where a business expense is being incurred maybe within your home. Okay, so if you run a business and you run that business and you have a home office in your house, then you're only going to be able to claim the portion of that business expense that is applicable to the business. Okay, you would not be able to claim the entire thing because part of that might also be of personal use. About a common misconception many people have when it comes to tax deductions. Most people think that tax deductions are used to offset your tax liability, which simply isn't true. So for instance, this misconception might apply where someone thinks that they have tax deductions equivalent to say £15,000 and they can offset this against their tax liability of £15,000. Now, this simply isn't true. Your tax deductions are there for you to offset it against your gross income, okay, before your profit is calculated, and your profit is what your tax rate is based on. So it is important to be able to distinguish between what it is your tax deductions are truly for and what it is they can be used to offset against. Now let's talk about the key steps you need to take to ensure that you are maximizing your potential to claim all your business expenses. The first thing you want to do is to ensure that you have a business bank account. Having a business bank account that is separate to your personal bank account is going to be really important, because that is going to help you keep an accurate record of all the business expenses that you have incurred for the business. And you do not want to be in a situation where you have both business expenses and personal expenses mixed up together, because it will make completing your accounts and giving you the right tax return figure very, very difficult. The next step you want to make sure you do is to ensure that your bookkeeping is done on a regular basis. You don't want to leave your bookkeeping done till the very end, because it will make the calculation of your tax liability far more difficult. It will also mean that you're more likely to actually not be capturing the full amount of eligible tax deductions for your business, which means that you're more likely to inevitably pay a much higher tax bill, right? So the third step you want to make sure you do is to ensure that you're keeping proper documentation of your receipts, of your invoices. You want to make sure that you are maintaining a really good record of this. And if you're running a business, the average time that you want to make sure that you hold your receipts and documents for is at least a minimum of 6 years. So do bear this in mind and make sure that you have a software or a tool, a document log, whatever it is, to make sure that you are keeping on top of this as you run your business. Now, hopefully that's been really helpful for you. Please do not forget to download the free list of tax allowable expenses in the description box below to help you get started on your journey to ensuring that you are claiming all your tax deductions this year. And if you need support from us in terms of our accountancy or tax services, then please do check the links in the description box below and contact us for how we can support your business. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.